Oldham Athletic third from the bottom against Arsenal third from the top. Two very different clubs already pursuing very different goals even at this early stage of the season. Arsenal fresh from their best performance of the season against Standard Liège can again afford to leave Kevin Campbell on the bench. Alan Smith partners in right. Andy Linnigan, a former Oldham player, and David Hillier come in to replace the injured Martin Keown and John Jensen. Joe Royle has half a team injured. Key men too, like Richard Jobson, Nick Henry and Ian Olney, all absent today. There's an Oldham debut at left back for Chris, a recall in midfield for Mark Brennan, and maybe a chance late in the game for pacey substitute David Beresford, who's just 16 years of age. Mike Reed's the man in charge, and I know it's tempting fate, but there hasn't been a goalless league match at Boundary Park for more than 6 years. It says a lot about Oldham's approach. Now, maybe those of you aren't kind enough to suggest that Arsenal will soon see to that record, but they really do need to win today. The gap at the top, already 7 points. Oldham pushing up and catching Ian Wright offside. It's a fine, fresh Lancashire afternoon, and a fresh pitch here at Oldham in much better condition than last season when it was a bit bare and hard. Haller. Dixon, not the best of headers, sharp for Holden. Makin. Into Bernard. A little bit too much on the header, really. Linnigan blocked by Holden. Here's Sharp, here's Beckford, good clearance, Tony Adams. Mike Milligan, Linnigan's there. Cleared by Dixon. Very little time to breathe inside that Arsenal penalty area at the moment. Tony Adams standing firm. Darren Beckford had the chance. Graham Sharp hanging at the far post as well as anybody in the game. It's a classic position for him to set the chance, but Adams did well. Here's Sharp. Bernard to his left, Beckford to his right. This is now Rick Holden. Sharp. Milligan's made a run into the box. Just couldn't quite dig it out from underneath him, the Oldham skipper. But Rick Holden, re-signed a couple of weeks ago from Manchester City, setting up that familiar supply line for the left-hand side. Challenge from behind was by Fleming on Smith. Paul Merson is the man standing over the ball. Adams and Linnigan are forward. In towards Smith, good save by Gerrard. And cleared well by Beckford deep in defence. Gunnar Haller. Mark Brennan. Paul Bernard. Haller again. Ran away from him to Winterburn. They arrived like the red arrows at the far post, almost in formation for Arsenal. Merson delivered. And Smith almost did. Winterburn. Right. Almost turned Fleming there. And disappointed not to get a free kick, the England man. Haller's long run forcing the throw. Beckford. Nice slip, Linnigan. Here's Bernard. Came off Adams. Beckford. Got it back for Oldham. Mark Brennan this time. Well, it came off Redmond and fell free and right. He certainly won't outpace Craig Fleming though. Oldham number 2 is very swift, and so's his pass for Holden. Now, what's that? Corner kick. Holden just managed to knock it against the shin of Dixon, who's down in some pain in that corner. Rick Holden walks him off his feet and on with the game. But with Dixon off the field. I think the referee's quite happy for play to continue as Gary Lewis treats it. Corner can be taken. Again, good save. Can't have seen very much of that, David Seaman. Shot by Milligan, surprise element, and look at all the bodies between Milligan and Seaman. It's Rick Holden. All Beckford this time with a crashing header. George Graham fairly passive looking on. John Jensen next to him is out of the team today because of an ankle injury. Sharp. Holden. Well, Mackin got there. Picked away unnecessarily by Holden, and certainly his reaction was very unnecessary. And Lee Dixon as puzzled as I am. He's off. Rick Holden, on his return to boundary bar, has lasted less than 37 minutes. He certainly thrust both arms into Dixon's chest and pushed him to the ground, and Rick Holden has been sent off by Mike Reid. A yellow card for Dixon. Ball was out of play. Dixon and Holden went for it. I suppose you could argue that Dixon kicked it away. Holden was trying to get on with it, but response, and look where the referee is. He had a great view of it. That response has earned Rick Holden an early dismissal. Sharp to Haller. Winterburn couldn't hold him. Haller's got Bernard and Beckford in support. And here's Paul Bernard with a real chance. Still a chance. Away by Winterburn. I'm not sure it was going in. But Bernard's best opportunity passed him by when he failed to control the ball initially. Here's McGoldrick. Much too close to the goalkeeper, but much too close for comfort at the other end for Arsenal. Gunnar Haller's willingness to run again, setting up the situation, and if he controlled it there, maybe. Well, there were a lot of men between him and the goal from that point onwards. Making. Now gone. Brennan. Merson. Here's Wright again, instant control. Awkward when he starts running at you, and he almost lifted that over Gerrard. Shoots a bit earlier than you expect him to. His figures for Arsenal are absolutely extraordinary. All they come down to is that each time he plays, he has about a 70% chance of scoring a goal. Hasn't happened yet today. Here's Merson. Arsenal poured 4 forward in support of him. 5 now with Winterburn here. Headed by Redmond. Bernard. All that coming from Paul Gerrard's weak clearance. Linnigan. Smith. Dixon. That's football from Arsenal. Important header from Macon. Arsenal have a corner. They can and do pass the ball greatly at times, Arsenal. Set one of their familiar set pieces here. A little longer this time towards Linnigan. Clearance by Sharp. Right, first to claim it. Hillier. Smith, great control. Played into the path of Tony Adams with a real chance. Well, that was a good save by Gerrard. But with the greatest respect to Tony Adams, a different player, might have stretched him a little more. It was a really good opening. Set up by Smith. And Adams in somewhat unaccustomed territory. Couldn't beat the 21 international goalkeeper. Merson. Here's Campbell, got a real chance. Had to hit the target. And if there's one remaining question mark over Kevin Campbell's undoubted ability, it's his ability to tuck that kind of chance away consistently. He's still only 23, of course. He looks well pleased, isn't he? Cleared by Fleming. Bernard. And he just leaned on Davis, and he's been penalised. Placed on a midfield player who can get into his opponent's box to score goals, and Paul Bernard is certainly that. Here's Alan Smith for Arsenal, looking for a goal which might settle it. And Gerrard and Fleming deny him. Down to the wire, last 5 minutes. One would surely do it now. And Smith almost got it. Dixon. Linnigan came off sharp last, it'll be a corner. It's been a very brave, very proud performance by Oldham. But they're on the ropes a little bit at the moment. Towards Adams. Defended well by Sharp. Dixon, Milligan's the man down. Redland's got it clear and might read quite sensibly, stopping play immediately. It's Milligan's shoulder, thankfully, rather than his head. Although the distinction would probably be rather low for him at the moment. And Alan Smith almost stole all the points for Arsenal there. He caught hold of the volley pretty cleanly from Campbell's flick on. Not much time to set himself, but it was straight at Gerrard. And Arsenal have just been unable to solve their goal-scoring problem again this afternoon. Gerrard is partly responsible for that. But it's going to cost them dear if it continues for much longer. Well, I suppose I should have shot at the start of the game. Now, the first goalless draw here in a league match since September 1987. Mike Reid, the referee, will be one of the central figures in the inquest for his dismissal of Rick Holden just before half-time. It's Arsenal's third consecutive goalless draw in the race for the Premiership title. Many more of them, and they'll be out of the race for the title. Oldham showed all the kind of guts and grit that we expect from them, but they weren't able to quite carry the loss of Holland for a victory. Rather unseemly ending to a fiery afternoon, but no goals to report.